Hello, friends. Welcome back. So, my name is Vinay Tulwani, and I am your mentor and guide. Today, I am going to deliver a very short lecture on the number of one-one functions and number of on-two functions. So, friends, to start with number of one-one functions and number of on-two functions, we should be aware about what are one-one functions and what are on-two functions. So, to start with, we should know the meaning of one-one functions over here. Now let's come to the point. What are one-one functions? Let us consider that I define a function from set A to set B. Now, when a function will be one-one function over here? A function will be one-one function when all the elements of set B, or I should say that elements of set B have a unique pre-image in set A. When the elements of set B has a unique pre-image in set A, then I should say that the function which is defined from set A to set B will be a one-one function. Okay. So now to find out the total number of one-one functions, I take two sets. Let us consider that set A has m elements and set B has n elements. So let us consider one activity over here. And as we can see on the screen, we have two sets now, set A and set B. Set A has m elements, set B has n elements. And for function to be one-one function, I can clearly see n should be greater than or equal to m. Now, why this n should be greater than or equal to m? Can anyone tell me over here? Okay, so let's do a very interesting activity over here now. To evaluate the total number of one-one functions over here, what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to take this elements of set A as m people. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to consider all the elements of set A as people. It means that I have m people right now. Okay, you can clearly see over the screen. And I can consider all the elements of set B as chairs. So what I can do, I have n chairs over here. Now my task is that I need to find total number of ways in which this m people can be seated on n chairs. I need to find total number of ways in which m people can be seated on n chairs. By doing this, I will get total number of one-one functions. Just think once again, why I am getting total number of one-one functions by doing this small activity. Because every chair can accommodate a single person. And likewise, in one-one function, the elements of set B should have a unique pre-image in set B, set A. Because the elements of set B has a unique image in set A, and likewise, every chair can accommodate a single person. That's why by finding the total number of ways in which m people can be seated on n chairs, we can find the total number of one-one functions over here. Also, friends, I have clearly seen that n is greater than or equal to m. Now, this is quite obvious, friends, that the number of chairs should be more than the total number of people. If number of chairs are less and number of people are more, then we can't make all the people seated on chairs. That's why number of chairs should be more than the number of people over here. That's why to find the total number of one-one functions, n should be greater than or equal to m. Now friends, what I need to do is I need to find total number of ways in which m people can be seated on n chairs. Just think, how can we do that? Just think once. What we need to do right now over here is, first of all, we need to select m chairs out of n chairs. We need to select m chairs out of n chairs. In how many ways we can do that, friends? So we can do that in NCM ways. In NCM ways, we can select m chairs out of n chairs. Now, once we select m chairs, we have m people with us who wants to sit on m chairs. We have m people with us who want to sit on m chairs. In how many ways we can do that? We can clearly do that in m factorial ways. We can arrange m people on n chairs in m factorial ways. So NCM into m factorial, which is also called as NPM, are the total number of 1-1 functions over here, friends. I hope this was one of the most interesting activity to find the total number of 1-1 functions over here. Now, moving on to the next part of this lecture. The next part of this lecture is, like we found the total number of 1-1 functions from A to B, we can also find the total number of onto functions from set A to set B. So let's move to the next part of this lecture. That is, now we need to find total number of onto functions from set A to set B. So friends, let's move ahead to find the total number of onto functions. Now, to find the total number of onto functions, friends, we need to understand that what are onto functions. To find total number of onto functions over here, first of all, we need to understand what are onto functions. So let us consider that a simple function is defined from A to B. Let us consider that we define a function from set A to set B. Now, when this function will be onto, when range is equal to codomain. In set theory terms, I can say that set A to set B function will be onto if every element of set B have some pre-image in set A. If every element of set B has some pre-image in set A, or if every element of set B is associated to some element of set A, or if every element of set B communicates with some element of set A, then the function is onto functions. It just means that no element of set B should be left empty. It means that every element of set B should be associated to some element in set A. Then if this thing is happening from A to B, then the function defined from A to B will be an onto function over here. Okay, I hope you all are clear with these definitions of onto functions. It is very simple, and we have already dealt with this definition in chapter called as function. Now friends, we need to find the total number of onto functions over here. To find total number of onto functions, we take again set theory. We make the use of set theory. Now what I'm going to do is, as you can clearly see on the screen, I'm going to do a very interesting activity again over here, friends. First of all, understand this thing, that set A consists of m elements and set B consists of n elements, as you can clearly see on the screen. As you can clearly see on the screen, set A has m elements and set B has n elements. For function to be onto, m should be greater than or equal to n. for function to be onto, m should be greater than or equal to n. Why is it so? Just think once. Why is it so? That for function to be onto, m should be greater than or equal to n. Because if m is less than n, if m becomes less than n, then there can be some elements in set B which cannot be associated to some elements in set A. Like if n becomes greater than m, if n becomes greater than m, then there can be some elements in set B which can't be associated to some elements in set A because m is small and n is large. That's why, friends, for function to be onto, m should be greater than or equal to n. Now, moving on, to find total number of onto functions, let's do a very interesting task over here. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to consider this m elements of set A as m distinct objects. I'm going to consider m elements of set A as m distinct objects. And I'm going to consider n elements of set B as n distinct boxes. All the elements of set A are what? All the elements of set A are objects or balls. You can take objects and all are different objects. All the elements of set B are what? All the elements of set B are n boxes, like distinct boxes. So friends, to find the total number of onto functions, we need to find the total number of ways in which m balls can be put in or n distinct objects can be put in n different boxes. We need to find total number of ways in which m distinct objects can be put in n different n distinct objects can be put in n different boxes such that no box remains empty. Such that no box remains empty. Friends, I am applying a condition over here that no box remains empty. Why is it so? Because if some box remains empty, then range will not be equal to codomain and hence the function will not be onto. That's why I need to distribute this m distinct objects into n distinct objects such that no boxes remains empty. So how can we do that? How can we do that, friends? Just think it once again. How can we do that? Some people are thinking that we can do it by grouping. That is quite fine. You can do it by grouping. We have done it already in the chapters called permutations and combinations. That we have distributed some different objects into some different boxes such that no box remains empty. We have done it earlier, friends, in the chapter called as permutations and combinations. But that concept will be applied if m and n are some small quantities, like 5 objects are distributed into 3 boxes, or 4 objects are distributed into 2 boxes, or 7 objects are distributed into 5 boxes or 4 boxes. If the data is quite limited to us, if the data is quite small, then friends, we can do that activity as well, grouping. But here, m and n are totally uncertain quantities. But here, m and n are totally uncertain quantities. Like, let us consider a case where m can be 200. That is, we can take 200 objects and we can take 100 boxes. So in this case, we can't do grouping over here because data is very big. So in this case, for distribution to happen, we can use some other method that is called as inclusion and exclusion principle. Friends, let's move on to the inclusion and exclusion principle to find the total number of onto functions. So moving on, to find the total number of onto functions, as you can clearly see on the screen, I have taken two sets A and B. A has M objects and B has N boxes. Now no box has to be empty and M is greater than N, that we have already discussed, friends. Now if we find the total number of functions from set A to set B, and if we subtract all the into functions, then friends we can get the total number of onto functions over here. Let us consider that if we find the total number of functions and if we subtract the total number of into functions, then we will be able to get what? We will be able to get total number of onto functions. This method is also called as bijection method. Now, to happen this or to perform this activity, first of all, we need to find total number of functions from set A to set B. To find the total number of functions from set A to set B, how can we find total number of functions from set A to set B? Let us consider that A1 is there. Now, A1 has how many options with it? A1 can be linked with N boxes. A1 can be linked with N boxes or N elements of set B. Likewise, A2 can also be linked with N different elements. A3 can also be linked with N different elements. And so on. AM can also be linked with N different elements. So friends, how many functions are there from A to B? So how many choices are there? So total number of functions from set A to set B will be N to the power M. This can be the total number of functions from set A to set B. Okay. So we get the total number of functions from set A to set B. Now, what we need to do is we need to remove into functions from here. So the remaining part will be onto functions. To remove into functions, we need to find total number of into functions over here. How can we find total number of into functions over here? To find the total number of into functions over here, friends, what are into functions over here? First of all, we need to understand what are into functions. In into functions, some of the boxes would be empty. Because if all the boxes are occupied, then function will become what? Onto. So for function to be into, the boxes should be empty. Let us consider that one box is empty. Let us consider that B2 is empty over here. Let us consider that B2 is empty over here. In how many ways we can select that one box which has to be empty? In how many ways we can select that one box which has to be empty? In NC1 ways, we can select that one box which has to be empty. And now let us consider that we considered B2 to be empty. Now, A1 has how many choices with it? A1 has N minus 1 choices with it. A2 has N minus 1 choices with it. A3 has N minus 1 choices with it. And likewise, AM has N minus 1 choices with it, friends. So in the total number of ways, we select NC1 as that one particular box which has to be empty. And now in how many ways these balls or these distinct objects can be arranged or put in the boxes? That will be N minus 1 to the power M. Now, these are the total number of ways in which boxes are empty. These ways also contain those ways in which two boxes are empty. This particular ways also contain those ways in which two boxes are empty. So we need to remove that cases. So we need to remove those cases. To remove those cases, we need to select now two boxes that will be empty. To remove those cases, we need to select two boxes which will be empty over here. So in how many ways we can select NC2? In how many ways we can select NC2 over here? And let us consider that B2 and Bn are those two boxes which are empty over here now. Let us consider that B2 and Bn are those two boxes which are empty over here. So how many options A1 has right now? How many options A1 has? So A1 is left with n minus 2. A1 is left with n minus 2 objects. A2 is left with n minus 2. And AM is left with n minus 2 ways. So after selecting those two boxes which has to be empty, in how many ways we can put those objects into those boxes? N minus 2 to the power m. And in this way, it will be continued. Friends, this is also called as inclusion-exclusion principle, which we have studied earlier. So the final formula of total number of onto functions will be n to the power m minus nc1 into n minus 1 to the power m plus nc2 into n minus 2 to the power m minus nc3 n minus 3 to the power m, and so on. It will be continued. It will be continued, okay? So alternate positive negative signs will be there, just like we have seen in inclusion and exclusion principle. In this ways, we can find the total number of onto functions by doing this interesting activity of boxes and balls. Okay, so friends, earlier in JEE examinations, we have seen that particularly when I talk about advance, many questions have been asked on total number of onto functions. But friends, not every time we need to do this particular activity. Not every time we need to do this particular activity. We can also find total number of onto functions by using the method of grouping. When we can use the grouping? When the data is very, very small. Up till now, JEE has asked questions on the data which was small. So let us consider an example which has been asked earlier in JEE examination. So let us consider an example which has been asked into the JEE examination. So as we can clearly see on the screen that set A has 5 elements and set B has 3 elements. As we can clearly see on the screen, set A has 5 elements and set B has 3 elements. Now we need to find the total number of onto functions over here. So how can we find the total number of onto functions over here? Friends, we can do a very simple activity over here. What we need to do, we just need to distribute 5 different objects in 3 boxes such that no box remain empty. So I have written that we can distribute 5 different objects into 3 boxes such that no box remain empty. By doing this activity, we can find the total number of onto functions. We can also apply the formula which we have derived in this lecture right now. And there is another method as well. That is, let us consider that we have B1, B2, B3 over here. Now we need to distribute 5 objects. So let us consider that in B1 we have 3 objects such that no box remains empty is the one of the most particular condition which we need to keep in mind over here. Let us consider that B1 has 3 objects, B2 has 1 object and B3 has 1 object. Let us consider that B1 has 2 objects and B1 has 2 objects, B2 has Now we can't consider B2 to be 3 objects. So we have to take B2 as 2 and B3 as 2. Is any other case possible over here? Is any other case possible over here? Let us consider B2, B3 as 1, 1. So B1 will be already 3, which we have already considered. We can't consider B2 as 2 and B1 as 3 because then B3 will be empty. So only two cases are possible. And how can we perform the grouping over here? We can clearly perform the grouping by using the formula total number of objects are 5 factorial upon 3 factorial, 1 factorial, 1 factorial into 3 factorial plus 6 factorial. Here 2 factorial will also come plus 6 factorial upon 2 factorial, 2 factorial, 2 factorial, 3 factorial into 3 factorial. So friends, we have already done grouping earlier, but I can explain you again over here. This 5 factorial is coming because of total number of objects. This 5 factorial is coming because of total number of objects over here. This 3 factorial is coming because of the group size. This 3 factorial is coming because of the group size. This 1 factorial is again the group size. 1 factorial is again the group size. This 2 factorial is coming because there are two groups which have same group size. This 2 factorial is coming because of there are two groups which have same group size. And this 3 factorial is coming because the objects which are in B1 can be in B2, and the objects which are in B2 can be in B1, and the objects which are in B3 can be in B1. So the objects which are in B1, B2, B3 gets permuted in 3 factorial ways. That's why this 3 factorial also comes into picture. Let us consider the another case. This 6 factorial is coming because of the total number of objects over here. This 6 factorial is coming because of, by mistake, I have written this 6 factorial. Actually, this will be 5 factorial. Okay. So this 5 factorial is total number of objects over here. And this 2 factorial is the group size of group 1. This 2 factorial is again the group size of group 2. This 2 factorial is again the group size of group 3. And this 3 factorial is coming because of because there are three groups which have equal group size. Because there are three groups which have equal group size. And again, this 3 factorial is coming by, it is coming because objects which are in B1 gets permuted in B2 and B3 and so on. So friends, in this way, by performing the grouping over here, we can find the total number of onto functions. I hope you enjoyed this lecture a lot, and I hope you got to learn many new things in this new lecture. And I will keep on uploading such kind of lectures for you friends. So thank you and have a nice day.